Hi, I'm Suzanne Siracuse. Welcome to season 3 of my podcast focused on the future, keys to building a profitable, sustainable, and impactful business. I'm excited to be partnering with wealthmanagement.com on this. This series will focus on what firms need to embrace to ensure their growth and success for the future. And you'll hear from industry leaders and advisors on what is working for them. I have a great lineup of guests in store, and today I'm speaking to Pammi Bhullar. Pammi is the Senior Director of Corporate Citizenship at Edelman Financial Engines. Edelman Financial Engines is a leading independent wealth planning and workplace investment advisory firm committed to putting their clients' best interests first, offering personalized investment advice and financial planning to help clients feel secure and supported every step of the way. Love that. Welcome, Pammi. Wonderful to see you. And thank you so much for being my guest today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Great. Well, as many of the listeners know, I always start off this podcast asking each guest the same question. And that's, how did you end up working within the wealth management industry?
Yeah, throughout my career, I've really worked across financial services, biotech, government, and nonprofit sectors. So the common thread across all the different sectors that I've worked in have really been that my purpose is to help others to achieve their potential. So 4 years ago, when I was looking for a new opportunity, I found Edelman Financial Engines. It's a purpose-driven company. They really care about their clients, and they wanted to further strengthen their employee culture as well. And so I thought that this is just such a great opportunity to have an impact on my colleagues, on clients. I know that every step of my life has shown me how money can hold people back, or how it can open doors to things that they truly care about. It can be a tool for freedom. It can be a major source of stress. I also learned that managing money is often not very intuitive. And so that's why I'm here in a financial planning firm. That's why I'm at Edelman Financial Engines. Our purpose is really to guide people with the financial advice that they can really thrive. And that doesn't mean just today, it means for generations to come. So working within this type of company with this type of purpose allows me to really kind of extend that impact beyond just one individual, beyond just our organization, but really for generations to come. So I am very passionate about working in this industry.
Oh, that's great. I love that you've been able to marry your passion for helping others and this corporate social responsibility, which we'll talk about what that actually means in a second, with the financial planning and financial freedom, financial independence, financial confidence. It's so important. I think sometimes advisors don't realize how important their role is for so many different reasons for individuals in their lives. So I love that you're able to marry your love of the social responsibility with the financial planning industry. We're glad you're here, and we're glad that there are firms like Edelman that are focused on this. So corporate social responsibility is something that many firms are just starting to focus more on, I want to say. And in fact, there were some amazing programs that were finalists at the wealthmanagement.com industry awards in September. And this category is one of the newer categories. And the lineup of submissions was just off the chart. So it's really wonderful to see firms that are committed to this, including yours. So, but many of the firms that I talk to, and firms that are probably listening today, are unclear on what it actually means. Like, what is corporate social responsibility, and why is it something that they should embrace? So can you share a little bit more about your role and why this is so important for Edelman?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'd love to. So at Edelman Financial Engines, we approach approach it as corporate citizenship. So corporate citizenship is diversity, equity, and inclusion, and corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility really is about the impact that you have on the people around you and the environment around you. So kind of to simplify it, philanthropy and environment. And we really design and grow our corporate citizenship programming to be very intentional and inclusive. So when it really comes down to it, corporate citizenship is about giving everyone a fair opportunity to achieve their potential. And we do this through thoughtful design. We do it through collaboration with our peers, taking their feedback, data driven decisions. Data is really the foundation for our how we decide where to prioritize. And we also do this through building community, storytelling, and meaningful partnerships. So you can see it's a multifaceted approach to really be able to see impact and real positive change. So I can give you a few different examples. So
Yeah.
specifically around prioritizing our inclusion efforts, when we learned a few different examples. So when we learned that the percentage of our candidates with disabilities were 3 times higher than the year prior, then among all the different things we had to do, we knew we need to prioritize making sure that a candidate knows how to request an accommodation through the interview process. It seems so simple, but when you have thousands of things to do, you need data to really help you to point you in the direction of most need. The other two indices or third party indices that we really rely on are the Disability Index and the Corporate Equality Index. So for the past 4 years, we've taken each of these indices to measure disability inclusion and LGBTQ plus inclusion. And each year we'll do a gap analysis to see, what are we doing well, what can we do better, and what are we not doing so well that we really need to prioritize. And so it's really helped us to make real progress on making better policies, better programs, creating processes that are easier to understand or more inclusive. So that's really helpful. When we look at the data, we're looking at, on a quarterly basis, the representation data. We're looking at third-party data to help us to kind of combine efforts to know where we need to improve.
That's really impressive. A lot of times on this podcast, we'll talk about data and the importance of data, but it's usually around something focused on, technology and generating insights for more operational purposes versus helping you figure out what areas that you need to react to that data and create programs or put levers in place to address some of the data that you're seeing, and then measuring it against those third party indices is amazing. So let me ask you this. You guys are, I think, one of the largest firms in the industry, if not the largest firm. So you have resources to be able to do that, which is great. What advice do you have for maybe some smaller firms that want to delve into this? Is there an easy way for them to maybe get started without having maybe all the access to resources that you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So it doesn't just have to be about these big programs. It can really just be about everyday actions. So
Hmm.
in creating a more inclusive, more welcoming environment, it's really about everyone kind of chipping in, and small gestures really matter. So let's say that you know of a colleague who is a client service associate and they really want to become a financial planner. Maybe you could invite them to shadow some of your planner meetings. It's a really simple way to put them into a situation that could give them more exposure, more visibility into the career that they want to go into, and then they know kind of the topics that come up, or it gives them an idea of what questions they should be asking or how they can prepare themselves for that type of career. Asking for your employees' input, even just pronouncing someone's name correctly or checking in to see how they're doing. All of these small actions help individuals feel seen, feel heard, feel valued, and it really makes a difference. So I mentioned in the beginning, community building is part of our corporate citizenship programming, and you can build those communities through initiatives like this. Also, we've seen volunteering and philanthropy really help us to build community throughout our colleagues. So on that end, you could even look at an opportunity to volunteer in your local community. And that doesn't take too much work if you plug into a nonprofit who's already hosting a volunteer event. I'll give you an example. So we just came off the heels of September 11th, which is now a National Day of Service. And there we had 116 colleagues across 8 different cities work together to pack meals to be able to distribute them to local pantries. It was a memorable event where we had the opportunity to honor loved ones lost. We had the opportunity to honor heroes that we lost, and we also had the chance to come together as one. And so whenever I say, an organization, small firms, you can do this. It can be through those everyday actions. It can also be through plugging into these volunteer events that nonprofits are doing in your own community. So you can really make an impact even if you don't have too many hands on deck to be able to help.
I love that. Those are some really great examples. And, I think back at my time at Investment News. I was there for a very long time, and we were really big on trying to do those community initiatives together. And I remember we volunteered at an animal shelter, and it really brought people together. And you don't need somebody that's sole job is to organize all of this. If you ask your teams, many of them really want to get involved in these things, and they're more than willing to do it. And, I think tying into something so important as September 11th is a wonderful idea that other firms can maybe get more information on that. We'll put that link in the resources when this podcast goes live. So thank you for sharing that. And, another priority that you have at your firm centers around the retention of talent. We talk about this a lot on this podcast. So can you share a little bit about what you're doing in that area that's working?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so proud to share about our We Aspire program. So We Aspire, it's a financial planner development program for top achieving colleagues who are aspiring to become financial planners. Now, this is an 8-month intensive program. It's focused on self-awareness, on comprehensive financial planning, empathy, client engagement, mentorship, and planner shadowing. So this is an intensive program. We're in our third cohort this year. And so this is really kind of our if someone wants to become a planner, this becomes that bridge to becoming that director of financial planners at our company. But in addition to that, we also have a really strong network and community of planners who support one another. They share their expertise, and we do this in a couple different ways. So one is they have access to the Advanced Planning Solutions team. So this is a team of specialists at the company where they might be focused on estate planning. They might be focused on tax planning. So you have this network of individuals that a planner can go to be able to support them on very niche topics. In addition, our Advanced Planning Solutions team hosts weekly training sessions. And as part of that, we're hosting a series called Diverse Planning Needs. And this is planners supporting other planners, planners teaching other planners about specializations that they have. So for instance, we've hosted military veterans financial planning. So we've got individuals who are financial planners and military veterans or children of military veterans, and they're sharing their expertise, their specialization with other planners. So this really helps to equip planners who may not have that niche specialization. That way, if they have a client, they know what questions to ask. They know who to ask inside the company to be able to better support them, and they can upskill themselves. So it's really we're really focused in on making sure we understand that not one kind of financial plan or one approach really fits for everyone. Those customized needs are really important. And so, from a retention standpoint, having this type of access to expertise within the company and specialization, having the type of planner community who really supports one another, it's really special. I'll come back from a supporting and one another standpoint. We Aspire has each one of the participants, we have 14 right now, is matched with a financial planner at our company, and they're meeting on a weekly basis. These are very busy individuals, and they commit for 8 months weekly basis, meeting for at least an hour. And they're allowing these individuals to shadow their meetings. They're role playing with the individuals as well. It's really special, the network that we have.
That is, first of all, I love that you teach empathy, right? That is such an important piece. And, I've been involved in some research with aspiring financial advisors that was released a few months ago. That was done in conjunction with the FinSer Foundation. And one of the number one things that aspiring planners are looking for is training and like client experience and working with other planners. So it sounds like you were ahead of the game in knowing what those aspiring advisors need. And that's just such a great program that you're putting on. And there are other training programs if firms don't have the ability to do that in their own firm like you guys do. There's plenty of other training programs out there, but it's such an important piece to that recruitment area, and we need it, right? We're going to have a lot of advisors retiring one day, and we need that next generation to come in and take over. So I love that. So your firm has a really interesting history in marrying together Bill Sharp and his expertise in investing, and then Rick Edelman and his focus on true financial planning. So how do both of their legacies play into how you're working with clients now?
Yeah, absolutely. So the focus on education. We have a really strong focus on community education, and we do this through our Dollar Sense Financial Capability Program, as well as through pro bono planning work with the Foundation for Financial Planning. I want to go a little deeper into the story behind Dollar Sense because, again, I'm really proud of this program. So, how Dollar Sense started, it actually started from our financial planners. We had a group of financial planners who had formed their own book club, and they were learning about the wealth gap. And they wanted to do more than just discuss the wealth gap. They wanted to do something about it. And so they brought me in, they brought one of our employee resource groups in, and we had a discussion, brainstormed what could we do to have an impact. And we narrowed in on youth financial literacy. So from there, we built Dollar Sense really around behavioral finance, just knowing how to differentiate between needs versus wants. How do you make trade-offs? How do you find the financial resources out there? Really getting scrappy. How can you distinguish between good debt and bad debt? And so these very foundational topics seem simple, but they really help to make sure that you're using money more as a tool and that you can find that freedom whenever you're managing your money. And so from there, it's more than doubled in size and from a partnership as well as an impact on participants standpoint. And through our programs, the people who are running the programs, they asked us to come back and teach the same content to parents. That was an aha moment for us where we saw just how needed even the foundational skills are around financial capability. And so from there, we've now expanded Dollar Sense to all ages, and we've also expanded the content to now include what my colleague calls life in the tax lane for tax planning, as well as estate planning, insurance planning. And we'll be doing, we actually have a partnership with Team Rubicon, which is a military veteran-led humanitarian aid organization. And we're hosting a financial planning series with them that will culminate in military veteran financial planning. So we've really, from an education standpoint, thankfully, we've been able to really meet the needs of our partners and the constituents in the community. And we hope to continue to grow this program.
That is amazing. Like that is just so important. And I say this a lot, so people are probably sick of hearing me, but the irony is the people that need financial planning the most are the ones that many times don't have access to it. So to be able to have programs like this and make sure that you're talking to people that really can use the assistance, what a gift. And I think it's something that every firm can do. You don't need to be a large firm. You can be the smallest of small. You can be a solo practitioner and give back in a meaningful way that way. That is just fantastic. Really, you guys should be proud of how you're leading your firm into the next, into the future and really appealing to the next generation of investors as well. Another priority that you have at Edelman Financial Engines is another really pretty amazing initiative, and it's this commitment to address mental health issues. And this was, I want to say, all the rage during COVID when this was an issue that was front and center but you're continuing this on now. So can you share a little bit about how you are doing that and what kind of response you've been receiving from team members?
Yeah, this is just so important to your point to carry forth after the pandemic. So we really use storytelling, and we open up the space for our colleagues to be able to share their stories, to be able to share their mental health journeys. Honestly, it's some of their most vulnerable stories that they're sharing, and whenever they have the courage to share it, it does a few different things. So, one, it inspires our colleagues to be hopeful, to say, "Wow, that's my peer, and they've gone through this. He's gone through this situation. He's coming out. He figured out a way to work through it, and now he's sharing his story." So that's one way. It's just inspiring that hope in another person where your story might resonate with them. We also want to destigmatize. We want to destigmatize mental health challenges. We want to encourage other individuals to take action and seek the help that they need and that they deserve, because we know that this is our work lives, but we are all human, and so we really need to create that supportive environment that embraces all of us and helps us to really thrive. So in combination with that, our benefits also include comprehensive virtual and in-person ways to contact a therapist as well as a psychiatrist. We also offer monthly well-being webinars. So like I said, we really try to wrap around that supportive network. And the other thing I mentioned with the stories, we have senior leaders here who open up and share their mental health journeys, and that really sets a precedent for other employees that it's okay and to tell your story, and actually helps your healing process as well. We've hosted panels that focus in on PTSD, and I mean colleagues sharing their own journeys on with PTSD, both as a military veteran but also not as a military veteran. We've had panelists share around addiction, anxiety, depression, domestic abuse, and even the impact of being a victim of sexual assault. So the stories and the impact on our colleagues, they reach out afterward and they say thank you, or they seek help, and they say, "You really inspired me to reach out and tell someone what's going on in my own world," or "You've inspired me to go talk to a therapist." So this is why I'm in this role, is I want to see real positive impact. And so when you're sharing these types of stories, we're changing colleagues' lives for the better.
You certainly are. Wow, that's just, again, so impressive. And I remember during the pandemic talking to a female leader, and she was saying that she shared her, some fears and anxieties and uncertainty about the future with like her team on like a group webinar. And she had never been that vulnerable before for lots of reasons. And how that actually shifted the way that individuals on her team saw her in a positive way. And so that piece of having the leaders be like actively engaged and involved, I think is such a critical piece to why it's so successful at your firm. So that's very, brave of people to do that, but it's for all the right reasons. So again, really amazing that you're doing all of that. So I could talk to you forever because you guys are doing really, really important stuff. And I'm personally very grateful that I have this platform to share out some of the things that firms do that are really going to be game changing for the future of our business. So thank you again for that. And I can't believe it, but we are at our final question that I ask everyone, the same one each time that I do an episode, which is with the title and the theme of the podcast, Focus on the Future, Keys to Building a Profitable, Sustainable, and Impactful Business in Mind. What is your last line? What key takeaway do you want to leave our audience with?
I'd like to say that driving impact, it really takes more than just passion. You need the passion, but it also requires precision. So when you're thinking about how you make your impact, create that roadmap, know what type of impact you want to make, take action. Don't expect sweeping change, but take action. Measure your progress, measure thoughtfully, learn from your mistakes, and make sure you communicate those wins. And that's how you'll be able to make an impact.
That is a great last line and really practical steps to getting involved. If you're already doing things to make an impact, then that's helpful. But if you're just starting, that really gives you that roadmap of what to do and what to focus on. So thank you again. Thanks for me being my guest today and for sharing what you're doing at your firm around corporate citizenship, leaving an impact, how you're setting up the next generation of talent for success with your programs, and the importance of addressing issues like mental health with your team. I'm Suzanne Siracuse. Thanks for listening, and I hope this episode leaves you feeling even more excited to be focused on the future.